A year ago, everything felt solid. I had a steady job as a mechanical engineer, owned a decent duplex in Denver, and thought I was building a future with Kayla, my girlfriend of 2 years. She was 26, jaw-dropping gorgeous, ex-barista turned aspiring beauty influencer. People used to joke I won the lottery. Maybe I did. Or maybe I was just the dumbass who bought into a rigged game. When she moved in last spring, it felt right. She'd just dropped out of college to go full-time with her content creation thing. I didn't mind. I paid for everything, rent well, mortgage, groceries, Wi-Fi, her damn car insurance. I figured I was helping her chase her dreams. That's what partners do, right? And at first it was great. She was sweet, funny, made the apartment feel alive. I was working long shifts, but every time I came home and saw her curled up on the couch with a blanket and that lazy smirk, I forgot I was exhausted. But like most fairy tales, it didn't last. She started going out more. At first, it was just a shoot, a networking dinner, meeting another creator. I didn't question it. I wanted to be supportive. She had ambition, and I respected that. But then it got weird. She'd be out entire weekends. No details. Just vague responses like, I'll be back late or don't wait up. One night, I came home to an empty apartment. No lights, no note. Just a text saying, out, don't wait up. I sat there on the couch in silence. Pizza box on the table. Her favorite damn show paused on Netflix and just stared at that text. Felt like someone punched a hole through my chest. I told myself maybe she was just stressed. Maybe she needed space. But deep down, I knew something was off. It got worse. She stopped eating dinner with me. Barely talked when she was home. Always on her phone. When I tried to bring it up, she said, "You're overthinking. I just need my space." Right. Because asking why my girlfriend treats me like a ghost in my own house is overthinking. But I backed off. I didn't want to seem clingy or insecure. I gave her space. And you know what she did with it? She disappeared. Fast forward to last week. We were sitting on the couch. Takeout between us. Some awkward movie playing. I tried to bring back a little spark. Talked about loyalty, relationships, how important it is to feel like you're on the same team. And that's when she hit me with it. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're not exciting, Ethan. You're just safe. I settled with you because you're convenient." No stutter, no smirk, just cold truth or maybe something worse, casual cruelty. I remember blinking, waiting for the punchline. She just went back to scrolling. I was done. I didn't yell, didn't throw anything, just sat there in silence, heart pounding, head spinning. That moment, that's when everything I'd been denying finally clicked. I wasn't her partner. I was her backup plan, her comfort zone. So I stopped being nice. I stopped texting her during the day. Didn't remind her to pay her half of anything because, let's be honest, she never did anyway. I canceled her Spotify on my family plan. Took her favorite snacks off the grocery list. Petty maybe, but it felt good. Then came the message. Her friend Ashley, who I barely talked to, sent me a DM. "Look, I probably shouldn't say anything, but you need to know Kayla's been seeing other guys. Not just one. It's been going on a while." I didn't freak out. I just stared at the message, reread it 5 times, and sat there with my jaw clenched. I didn't reply for hours. When I did, it was just thanks, because now I had a decision to make. And trust me, part 2, that's where the gloves come off. The next day, I woke up early not to go to work, but because I couldn't sleep, my mind was racing. I couldn't shake what Ashley said. Kayla, cheating, multiple guys. I didn't want to believe it. But come on, everything lined up. Her being out at all hours. The phone glued to her hand. The weird defensiveness whenever I asked where she'd been. Still, I needed proof. I wasn't going to blow up based on a text from someone who might just be stirring the pot. That night, when Kayla said she was heading to a collab dinner, I casually asked who with. She didn't even look up. Just Jules and some folks from Instagram, she said, grabbing her keys. I smiled. Cool. Tell Jules I said hi. She didn't, because she wasn't going to see Jules. An hour after she left, I messaged Jules. I kept it chill. Hey, just checking. Kayla said y'all were meeting tonight. Wanted to ask her to grab me some Thai. Jules responded in under a minute, I'm not with her. Haven't seen Kayla in like 3 weeks. There it was. First solid lie. I didn't freak out. I just sat back, stared at my ceiling fan, and thought, okay, game on. Over the next few days, I pieced together her patterns. She always dressed up more on Wednesdays and Saturdays. She'd leave around the same time, come back late, smelling like perfume she never wore around me. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I downloaded a basic location tracker app and synced it to her phone while she was in the shower. I know invasion of privacy. But after 2 years of paying every bill while she was out getting attention from other guys, screw that. I needed the truth. That Saturday, she left for her usual meetup. I waited 20 minutes, checked the app. She wasn't at any restaurant. She was parked outside a dude's apartment complex 2 neighborhoods over. My stomach dropped. I drove over. Didn't park close, I wasn't trying to cause a scene. Just wanted to see it for myself. And there she was, outside on the steps, laughing with some guy who looked like he bench pressed for a living. She leaned in. He kissed her. Right there, full view. I didn't go confront her. I just took a picture. 1 photo. Then I turned around and went home. I don't even remember the drive back. I just remember my hands on the wheel, gripping it like I was trying to crush the leather. The next morning, she came back like nothing happened. She kissed my cheek, asked if I wanted coffee. I said no, I was ice cold. Over the next week, I slowly dismantled her free ride. First, I canceled the autopay on her car insurance. Then I logged into the utilities and split the bill. Sent her the login info and her share with a simple message, time to pitch in. She didn't react right away. But 3 days later, she stormed into the living room with a letter in hand. Why didn't my insurance go through? She snapped. I didn't even look up from my laptop. Because I'm not paying it anymore. Her eyes went wide. What the hell is your problem lately? That was it. The opening. The moment I'd been waiting for. I closed the laptop, stood up slowly, and I said, calm as ever. My problem is that my girlfriend has been seeing other men while living in my house, eating my food, and driving around on my dime. And boom, her face went pale. She blinked fast like she was buffering. What? Where the hell did you get that from? I pulled out my phone, opened the pic. From this Saturday night. You remember when you were supposedly with Jules? I held it up. She stared at it, lips parting but no sound coming out. You went through my phone, she finally said, deflecting like a pro. Nope, just tracked your location. Because you don't respect honesty. So why the hell should I? She threw her hands up. That's toxic as fuck. I didn't cheat. That was just a friend. I raised an eyebrow. A friend who kisses you on the mouth and has you in his lap at midnight. She didn't answer that. Just stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. She avoided me for 2 days after that. Then, just when I thought she might try to quietly move out, she pulled the most unhinged move I've ever seen. She showed up one night with 4 of her girlfriends shouting outside my house like it was a Netflix drama. You can't just kick me out. I have nowhere to go, she screamed, holding up a paper. I opened the door, looked at the crowd, and asked flatly, what is this, a mob audition? She pushed forward, voice trembling. I'm pregnant. It's yours. You could hear a pin drop. Even her friends looked unsure, like they'd just been dragged into a plot twist they didn't sign up for. I crossed my arms. Oh, and where's the proof? She blinked. I haven't been to the doctor yet. I nodded slowly. Right. No test, no ultrasound, no appointment, but just enough drama to try and stay under my roof. One of her friends looked sideways at her. Another backed off the porch. Look, I said, louder now, addressing the group. She's not pregnant. She's just trying to stay in a house she no longer belongs in. This isn't her home anymore. She started crying. Real tears. I'll give her that. You don't mean that, she whispered. You're just mad. You love me. You said. I cut her off. I meant it. Until you treated me like a placeholder. Like I was a safe bet while you shopped for something better. But guess what? I'm not your backup. I'm done. She tried to argue more, but I didn't listen. Just closed the door. A few days later, her stuff was packed. I had a friend help me put it in the garage. She came to get it while I was at work. Left a note that said, "You'll regret this." I laughed when I read it, because here's the thing, I already regretted not ending it sooner. And just when I thought the drama was over, there was one last surprise waiting. Stay tuned. Because karma. She's just getting warmed up. It's weird how quiet the house felt after she left. Not peaceful quiet, just hollow. Like something rotten had been scrubbed out. But the smell still lingered. I didn't feel triumphant. Not yet. Just tired. Drained in a way no nap or whiskey could fix. But I knew I'd done the right thing. She was gone. Her stuff was gone. Her drama parade had left my porch, and for the first time in months, I could breathe. Until, of course, the smear campaign started. I started hearing from mutual friends, some real ones, some fence sitters. The usual suspects. She's telling people you were emotionally abusive. Apparently, you kicked her out with nowhere to go. Oh. And she says you tracked her without consent. Cool. So now I was the villain in her twisted rom-com. At first, it pissed me off. I wanted to post screenshots, share the photo, drop the receipts in a group chat, and let the court of public opinion do its thing. But then I realized I didn't have to. The people who really knew me, they didn't buy it. The ones who did, I didn't need them anyway. So I let her spin her little fanfic while I focused on getting my life back. I fixed things around the house, went back to the gym, cleaned out the pantry, and tossed all her bougie snacks and expired collagen crap. It felt good, like peeling off a scab. And then, of course, karma, that glorious, petty queen, decided to deliver. A couple weeks later, I ran into a buddy of mine, Marcus, at this dive bar near work. He worked at a real estate firm downtown, knew everyone and their dog. He pulled me aside and grinned. "Bro, you're not gonna believe who showed up at my buddy's place last week." I raised an eyebrow. "Who?" "Your ex, the influencer. She showed up looking like she got kicked out of a TikTok house. Apparently, she was crashing at some guy's condo, some wannabe crypto bro, and he dumped her after like 9 days. I blinked. Wait, seriously? Oh yeah. Dude found out she didn't have a job, no savings, and she'd been living rent-free for 2 years, called her a gold digger, and booted her. I let out the nastiest laugh, not even out of spite, just pure, stunned disbelief. Marcus clapped me on the back. Guess she found out how replaceable she really is, huh? And yeah, it was satisfying. But not for the reasons you think. It wasn't about revenge, it was about confirmation. Confirmation that I hadn't lost something valuable, I'd dodged a damn bullet. I moved on, quietly. I wasn't out partying or posting cryptic quotes on Instagram. I just lived, peacefully. And then, right when I thought she was finally done haunting my life, she came back. Not literally, not first. It started with a message. "Hey, can we talk?" I stared at the screen, ignored it. Then another. A few days later, "I miss you." Still ignored it. Then a third. "I fucked up. I know that. I'm sorry. I just want to talk. Please." Nope. That night, she showed up at the cafe where I usually worked on side projects. I didn't even see her come in. I just looked up, and there she was. Standing across from my table like a ghost in ripped jeans and a hoodie. Her eyes were swollen. No makeup, not a ring light in sight. "Ethan," she said, voice shaking. "Please." I stood up calmly, took a deep breath. "This isn't the time or place." "Then tell me when," she whispered. "Because I've been falling apart and—" I cut her off. "That's not my responsibility anymore." She flinched, like it physically hurt her. And yeah, for a second, a small, stupid part of me almost softened. But then I remembered the months of silence. The lies. The cheating, the entitlement, the screaming outside my house with her little squad like I was the villain in her drama. So I just walked out, left her standing there. I thought maybe that was it, that she'd get the hint. But nope. 2 days later, she showed up at my house again. This time alone. No makeup. Hair tied back. Just standing there with a paper bag in her hands. "I brought your old hoodie," she said. "Figured you might want it back." I took it without a word. She didn't move. "Ethan, please, just 5 minutes." So I let her in. Stupid maybe. But I needed to hear what the hell she thought she was doing. She sat down on the edge of the couch, hands shaking. "I messed everything up," she said. "I thought I wanted freedom, attention, validation. I don't even know what I was chasing. I just know that I had something real, and I spit on it." I stayed silent. "I was stupid," she continued. "Entitled. I treated you like you were a safety net, someone who'd always be there no matter how I acted, and I was wrong. You didn't deserve that." No denial, no deflection, just raw, broken truth. And maybe in another life, that would have been enough. But I'd already buried that version of me, the guy who waited up at night for someone who never came home. So I said it, plain and final. "I forgive you." She looked up, hopeful. "Really?" "Yeah," I nodded. "But I don't want you back." Her lip quivered. "I'm not angry," I added. "I'm just done. And honestly, I think you knew that the moment you kissed someone else." She nodded slowly. "I did. I just thought you'd always be around." I stood up. "Well, now you know better." She walked out on her own, quiet, no scene. And that was the real end. No screaming, no threats, just silence. The next week, I blocked her on everything. Not out of spite, out of peace. I started dating again. Slowly, casually, nothing serious. Until I met Rachel, met her at that same cafe, actually. She was the barista who'd watched my entire meltdown unfold in real time. First time she handed me a latte, she said, "Hope today's better than the one where your ex stormed in." I laughed so hard, I almost spilled the drink. And something about her calm, grounded, funny in that dry, I don't need attention way felt real. We took it slow, no expectations, just honesty. And for the first time in years, I felt like someone saw me not as a safety net or a stepping stone, but as a person worth choosing. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. Not perfect, not healed overnight, but real, steady. She said I was replaceable. Turns out, she was projecting. And honestly, I'm good with that. Rachel and I didn't start out like a rom-com. There wasn't some slow-motion hair flip or instant fireworks. It was more like calm, easy, refreshing in a way I didn't even realize I needed. She wasn't flashy. No filters, no curated drama. Just someone who actually listened, who remembered small things, who asked how my day was and actually waited for the answer. And honestly, that messed me up more than it should have, because I wasn't used to that. After Kayla, I'd gotten so used to walking on eggshells that kindness felt like a trap. But Rachel, she was patient. She didn't rush me, didn't push me. We started hanging out after her shifts, grabbing late-night tacos, sitting in the park, talking about dumb stuff, movies, favorite road trips, why pineapple does or doesn't belong on pizza. She had this dry sense of humor, sarcastic but never cruel. The kind of person who roasted you in a way that made you feel seen, not belittled. The first time she touched my arm just casually, during a laugh I actually flinched. She noticed, didn't make it awkward, just sipped her drink and changed the subject. And that, right there, that was the moment I realized I wasn't just getting over Kayla. I was unlearning all the tea she left behind. I was learning what it felt like to be respected again. A month in, Rachel came over for dinner. I cooked nothing fancy, just pasta and garlic bread. She brought wine and one of those small potted plants. "Here," she said, handing it to me. "So your kitchen doesn't look like a serial killer lives here." I laughed so hard I dropped the corkscrew. After dinner, we sat on the floor, not the couch. The floor, and talked for hours. I don't even remember what about. At some point, she leaned her head on my shoulder. And instead of panic, I felt something else. Peace. I didn't kiss her that night. I didn't have to. She knew I wasn't ready. And she wasn't trying to fix me. She was just there. A few weeks later, we were officially a thing. No games, no soft launches or cryptic stories. Just two people figuring it out. And for a while, life was good. Until Kayla tried one last play. It started with a message request on Instagram. I hadn't blocked her on there, just unfollowed. Guess that was my mistake. The message was short. Saw you're dating someone new. Hope she knows how boring you are. Classic Kayla. Passive-aggressive wrapped in cheap lipstick. I didn't reply. Just blocked her for real this time. But then Rachel got one, too. From a burner account. Hope he told you how controlling he is. How he tracks phones and manipulates women. Good luck, hun. You'll need it. Rachel showed it to me the next day. Calmly. No drama. You think it's her? She asked. I nodded. Almost definitely. She didn't get angry. Didn't freak out. Just raised an eyebrow. Well, she sucks. And that was that. She didn't press me for details. Didn't get weird or insecure. Just trusted me. That trust, that meant everything. Still, something about Kayla trying to sabotage my happiness months after the fact made my skin crawl. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want to humiliate her. I just wanted her gone. But it seemed like she couldn't stand the fact that I was okay without her. A week later, she showed up again, not at my house this time, but at the damn coffee shop. Rachel wasn't there. She had the day off. And I was just sitting there, working on a proposal, headphones in. I didn't notice her until she sat down across from me. Ethan, she said, like we were still on speaking terms. I took my headphones off, stared at her. What do you want? She looked different. Hair darker, eyes puffy. She looked tired. I needed to see you. In person. Just one last time. I didn't answer. She took a breath. I heard you're with someone. And I know I have no right to say anything. But I wanted to say I'm sorry. I blinked. For what? Exactly. She paused, looked down at her hands. For everything. For using you. For disrespecting you. For making you feel small. It hit differently, hearing it in person. There was no smugness in her voice. No fake tears. Just regret. She kept going. I thought I wanted something else. Excitement. Attention. Whatever. And I found it, but it was empty. All of it. They didn't care about me. Not really. I was just hot and available. I stayed silent. She sniffed. I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. Until you stopped texting. Until I saw pictures of you and Rachel laughing, happy. And it hurt. Because she looks at you the way I should have. That line stuck. Not because it made me pity her, but because it was true. Rachel looked at me like I mattered. Kayla never did. Thanks for saying that, I said finally. She nodded. I don't expect anything. I'm glad you're okay. Then she stood up, gave me a small smile, and walked out. And that was it. Closure. Not some grand gesture. Not some messy public meltdown. Just a quiet, overdue apology. I told Rachel about it that night. Every word. She didn't flinch, just listened. Then she said, "Sounds like you got what you needed." I nodded. I think I did. And that night I slept like a damn baby. Funny how healing doesn't always feel loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just silence. Peace. Waking up and not checking your phone for landmines. Sometimes it's the smell of coffee from a girl who actually wants to share her morning with you. Sometimes it's knowing that the worst is behind you and you didn't let it break you. Next part, let's just say things got even better. Because peace, it's addictive. Life after chaos is weird. Not in a bad way, more like your brain keeps waiting for the next storm. And it just doesn't come. No yelling, no accusations, no weird vibes or walking on eggshells. Just regular SHT like who's cooking tonight, or whether to rewatch Breaking Bad or finally start Succession. It was months since the last time I heard from Kayla. That final apology was real. I think. She disappeared after that, and I didn't go looking. Rachel and we settled into something real, solid, but not boring. We had this rhythm. Wake up, make coffee, tease each other about toothpaste habits, talk about dumb dreams from the night before. Weekends were lazy or spontaneous, no pressure. One Friday, she dragged me to a used bookstore and spent an hour hunting for a copy of a novel she lost in college. Another night, we ended up slow dancing in the kitchen at midnight while pasta water boiled over. Nothing Instagram-worthy, just real. And I realized something I'd never really let myself believe before. Peace doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means you're not bracing for pain. One night, a few of my old friends came over for a barbecue, guys who knew me from the Kayla era. One of them pulled me aside after dinner. "Dude, you're different," he said. "Like, calmer. It's weird." I laughed. "I feel different." "You seemed like you were constantly fighting ghosts back then," he said. "Now you're just here." And that hit hard. Because he wasn't wrong. I'd spent so much time trying to fix a relationship that was actively bleeding me out that I forgot what it felt like to just be, not perform, not chase, not compensate. Just be. A few weeks later, Rachel met my parents. Now, let me say this, my mom's no pushover. She's the kind of woman who raised 3 kids while working 2 jobs and still had the energy to cook Sunday dinner. She doesn't hand out approval easily. But Rachel, she had my mom smiling before dessert hit the table. "She's grounded," Mom said afterward. "Not like the last one. That girl always felt like she was playing a role." And yeah, she was right. Kayla was always on, like she needed everyone in the room to validate her existence. Rachel didn't need the spotlight. She just showed up. I realized I didn't want fireworks. I wanted someone who could sit with me in silence and not make it weird. Things kept moving forward, smoothly. Until one afternoon, I got a call from a random number. Thought it was spam. Ignored it. But then a voicemail came through. It was Kayla's mom. Yeah, that blindsided me. "Hi, Ethan. I know this is unexpected. I wanted to thank you for how you treated Kayla and for not lashing out when everything fell apart. She's going through a lot right now. I think she's finally seeing herself clearly. And part of that's because of how you handled things. So, thank you. That's all. Take care." I sat there on the edge of the bed, phone in my hand, feeling weird. Not sad, not angry, just this strange sense of finality. Kayla had burned a lot of bridges, but I never wished her failure. I just wanted her out of my damn story. And now it felt like the last page finally closed. That night, I told Rachel about the call. She just nodded. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Actually, yeah." And I meant it. We sat on the porch afterward, watching the sun set like an old cliche. I told her something I hadn't told anyone. I think I was afraid I'd never find this again. After Kayla, I thought maybe I was just broken. She looked at me, serious. "You weren't broken. You were just tired of fighting battles alone." That one got me. I had to look away for a second. Pretend I was watching the street. I wasn't used to people seeing me like that, not without turning it into something they could use later. Rachel didn't do that. She saw the cracks and didn't try to fill them or fix them. She just sat with me in them. Later that week, I got promoted at work. Nothing major, just a shift into project management. More hours, better pay, less grunt work. I came home that night to Rachel sitting on the kitchen counter with 2 beers and a grin. "You're the boss now," she said. "Should I start calling you sir?" "Only if you want HR to get involved," I joked. We toasted. She kissed me. That kind of kiss that doesn't try to prove anything, just says, "I'm here." And that's what it kept coming back to presence. Kayla was always chasing something. Validation, likes, approval, whatever. She wasn't there. Rachel, she showed up. Even when things weren't exciting. Even when I was grumpy or quiet or lost in my own head, she was there. That's when I knew I was all in. We didn't talk about forever right away. No pressure, but we made space for each other. And it felt right. The best part, I didn't feel like I had to prove I was worth staying for. That was new. One night, I was scrolling through old photos on my phone trying to clear space. I found an old pic of me and Kayla from our first vacation together. We were on a boat, She was smiling at the camera. I was smiling at her. But I could see it in my face, the tension, the performative happiness, the way I leaned in too much, trying to make it work. I deleted it. Not out of spite, just clarity. That wasn't me anymore. The next photo was of Rachel, mid-laugh. Wearing my hoodie and holding a slice of pizza like it was gold. No tension, no pretending. I kept that one because that was the moment I stopped surviving and started living.